Since they'd originally planned to be back by lunch, the men are dressed only in light clothing and are now at serious risk of hypothermia.
The problem with us was that we were completely exposed to the sky. It was quite cold.
It's early in the morning, and a group of ecologists are about to go on a special charter flight. They'll be flying into one of the remotest parts of Central Africa, the Luano Valley in Zambia. Graham Child from Zimbabwe is leading the team.
I've worked all over the world, but my real love is the central part of Africa. You have fantastic wildlife.
Clive English has flown over from the UK, especially to work with Graham.
The chance to do this work with somebody like Graham was just a real opportunity that nobody would ever turn down.
The men are planning to establish a conservation park in the area, and the aim of this morning is to spot large herds of buffalo. They're flying towards a wetland area where buffalo might gather, but this means flying in close to a huge escarpment rock face.
We had to get in quite close to this escarpment to be able to have a look at them properly. We were traveling quite fast. I noticed that the aeroplane seemed to be descending.
Then suddenly, the air sucks the plane downwards.
Going in! We're going in!
What happened is that we just lost it.
And then we hit.
The plane is shattered on impact. All 4 men are trapped inside the fuselage.
Adam! Clive! Adam, are you okay? I'm on the wing!
Graham is the most severely injured of them all. In shock, he doesn't grasp the full horror of what has happened.
I knew my back was damaged and I knew my feet were damaged, but I didn't realize how bad.
Adrenaline is numbing Graham's pain.
When I looked down, my one foot was badly damaged with my leg bone sticking out. I could see out of one eye a little bit and everything was blooding up very fast.
Are you hurt bad?
I'm afraid I can't feel my legs.
I couldn't move my legs. And then I realized that I was paralyzed.
Now it's the African night, where temperatures can rapidly drop close to freezing. Since they'd originally planned to be back by lunch, the men are dressed only in light clothing and are now at serious risk of hypothermia.
The problem with us was that we were completely exposed to the sky. It was quite cold. Graham was a constant source of concern. He was older, and he had this horrific broken leg.
My greatest concern was a hyena coming in and smelling my blood. Hyenas like bloody bits of meat to chew.
There were quite a lot of noises.
Adam has directed Mumba to where he believes there's a village.
I thought that if he just followed that stream, he'd find habitation, that there'd be people there.
If Adam is right, Mumba may be able to reach help in a matter of hours. The supply of water Mumba left behind will only last a few hours. Once it runs out, they'll have no means of collecting any more. Without water, it will be a matter of hours before severe dehydration will take its toll. 36 hours since the crash, and time is running out. The condition of Clive's colleagues is worsening as they face another bitterly cold night.
Adam had physically deteriorated throughout that day. He was very weak. It was a very cold night, and he just seemed to go into uncontrollable shivers.
Adam doesn't know it, but he's now developed pneumonia. His lungs are inflamed and filling with fluid. Without urgent medical care, his lungs could collapse, and then he will slowly die.
I was really concerned that he wouldn't last very long. Watching him shivering like that was very tough.
Graham Child is struggling to stay conscious despite the pain from his severed leg. Pilot Adam Pope is suffering from chronic pneumonia.
Adam was beginning to get a lot weaker. I was beginning to lift his head to assist him with drinking water. It was quite distressing to see him deteriorating the way he was. I was really concerned that with the heat of the day, he would really suffer yet again.
Clive makes a desperate decision. He will attempt to reach safety despite his fractured back. He has no idea whether he's even capable of making it.
I wasn't really sure whether I could do it, but I was absolute agreement that I would rather try to do something like that than just sit there and watch these two guys slowly deteriorate.
It's a massive gamble. Clive is not sure which direction will even lead him towards a village, or how far he will get in the dense African terrain. With barely a few hours' worth of water, the injured men are now alone and completely at the mercy of the African elements.
As soon as Clive went away, I knew that this was the last act, really. We couldn't survive much longer.
Adam and Clive are now clinging on to life. All they can do is wait and pray for rescue.
There was nothing else we could do. I don't know that we even communicated with each other. We might have shouted to each other once or twice during the day.
I could hear something in the distance.
The silver space blanket that Clive laid out was spotted by a search plane. With no place to land, a helicopter was dispatched to rescue the men. Atoll Freiling, a volunteer rescuer, was in the chopper.
I never forget the pilot saying, "I don't think anyone can survive that." And that's when we saw this hand waving. And I said, no, there's somebody alive down there.
And I said, oh, this is fantastic. The whole surge of positive emotion that goes through you just seeing the helicopter. And a weight went off my shoulders there. God, this is, it was just amazing.
It was just a question now of time, and they'd lift me out.
Mumba finally reached a village, a day after the men were rescued. He later died of an unrelated illness. Completely unaware of the rescue, Clive English spent a night alone in the bush before he was finally rescued. he made a full recovery. Graham Child underwent emergency surgery on his foot. Remarkably, his foot was saved, and today he has full mobility.
When I saw Graham in the oxygen tent, I just could not believe that he still had his foot. It was just extraordinary that he'd sort of come through this the way he had, and he still seemed like somehow he would just survive. And he has. He has.